Welcome back. Today we are going to do the top 10 power forwards. Typically, I have been doing this like a whole show because I've started doing my own and it's still going to happen. But for this, you're going to get probably top 10 power forwards today when you're watching this. And then top 10 centers will probably come out literally tomorrow or the day after because, again, I want to go into next week's NBA show with nothing, just based off, the first day. Also, I know I didn't give the episode yesterday. It's basically this, except we're only doing power forwards. There's not much to talk about other than the Kings, which we will talk about, I guess. But you're gonna get two of those this week. So yeah, and then next week, just going right back on our normal schedule. Things aren't necessarily going to come out every Wednesday. It might be like this week. It's Thursday. Next week, it might be Tuesday. The week after might be Wednesday, then back to Tuesday. Then maybe we get a Friday. But I'm still going to do daily videos on the NBA anyways. This is just where I could talk about it more in depth. But yeah, the Sacramento Kings signed Keegan Murray to a 5-year, $140 million deal. I mean, Keegan Murray shows, I don't know if potential is the right word, but he shows promise that like he could be a really good starter in this league, and he is. But man, like Shams put out a tweet. Let me see if I can find it. It's right here. So Keegan Murray is one of three players to record 500 3-pointers, 150 blocks, and 150 steals over the last 3 seasons. The only other two to do it, Anthony Edwards and Derek White. That's a pretty good mark. And he is an all-around guy, but he was an older rookie, I believe. I don't know, does he have his birthday here? I don't really know. But I believe he was an older rookie. Um yeah, he's 25. Um Last year he averaged 12, 6, and an assist on 44% from the field. He's a good player. He's a very good starter to have, but 5-year 140 is kind of locking yourself up. And as the Kings, they don't need a really good fifth starter. They need really good talent in general. Like they have talent. Let me not say that because Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Sabonis, everything, all those players, they are good talent, but they don't have much structure, I guess. And Keegan Murray basically means you're locked down with him. Um, I don't even know what annually that would come out to. I right just below 30, right? Like 27 million maybe a year. Which again, it's not like it's a max in the NBA anymore, but almost 30 million for a guy on a team. I think that my problem was the team that gave it to him. I think that's what it is. Even though I do think it might be a little steep, a little bit of an overpay. I think it's the team where he is like they need to get some young talent. They need an AJ DeBonta to walk in that door. They need a Cameron Boozer to walk in that door. But and then Russell Westbrook finally signed, man. Sacramento Kings. For it doesn't actually say. I haven't really actually been able to find the number. But he signed a deal about around noon yesterday. 9-time All-Star Russell Westbrook agrees on a deal with the Sacramento Kings for his 18th NBA season. I think it's really the only place he could have gone, if I'm being honest. Apparently, LaVine, DeRozan, and Sabonis put in there. They were trying to convince the GM that, hey, we got to go get him, which it's a good pickup, bro. Like, I mean, Russell Westbrook, sure, he's older. He's not MVP Russ, but what he can still give would matter on a lot of teams. Now, Sacramento, I mean, I, I don't think they could be any higher than an eighth seed this year. And I think even that might be too far out of the reach, like based on how the West is going. Um, but I mean, it's a good pickup. They got Dennis Schroeder over there. They can run a bunch of different lineups over there. Um, And again, talent they got talent, but it just does it all work? And I just don't think it does. And also, Malcolm Brogdon surprisingly retired. 2017 Rookie of the Year, 2023 Sixth Man of the Year. He was 50, 40, 90. Malcolm Brogdon just calls it quits shortly after being acquired by the New York Knicks. And I thought it was a pretty good pickup because we haven't really seen Malcolm Brogdon be able to hoop healthy in in competition since that 2023 team on the Celtics. Second round pick and everything. So such a good backup to starter point guard. Again, never an all-star or anything like that, but you talk about serviceable guards, Malcolm Brogdon was that. Um and his short message was, "Today I officially begin my transition out of my basketball career. I have proudly given my mind, body, and spirit to the game over the last few decades. With the many sacrifices it took to get here, I have received many rewards. I am deeply grateful to have arrived to this point on my own terms and now be able to reap the benefits of my career with my family and friends. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all who had a place in my journey." That is a big thing that you see with athletes, though, is them saying they want to go out. They don't want to go out because they tore their ACL and they can't come back. They don't want to go because whatever. They want to be able to say, "I want to retire. This is what I want to be done." Um, and then also, if he played this year, I think he would have gotten the lifetime benefit from the NBA. So that's another thing. But clearly, I mean, he's doing good for himself. He's gotten paid in his career. So, um, but I mean, I guess the biggest point of it is him saying, "I want to retire today." But let's get to our top 10 power forwards. So, shout out to Malcolm Brogdon. Shout out to Westbrook and Keegan Murray for our little news we got over the past little bit. Um, I will say, do I want to say my honorable mentions? Because that might be okay. Well, first, I'm going to say the players that I did not include because of injuries, and I just felt like I didn't see enough of them to really gauge them properly. But these two players probably would have been here if they were healthy. Zion Williamson didn't play a lot. We obviously know who Zion is, but what Zion will be this year, who knows? And then Jalen Johnson, man, been in the most improved running before he'd gotten hurt the past couple of years. Um, has some dark horse all stars buzz around his name this year, depending on how good the Hawks are. Um, but yeah, they will not be on this list, even though they both should be. Jalen Johnson and Zion. Honorable mentions: Aaron Gordon was my first man off. Denny Adia and Draymond Green did not make my list. Again, if you go through this list and you say, "Hey, I didn't hear whoever," maybe go look at small forwards. Maybe you thought he was a power forward, he was deemed as a small forward this past year, or maybe was a power forward the year before and he was a center this year. Like Bam, center, Cat, center list. They are not in this list. So yeah, number 10. He played 74 games this year for the New York Knicks. OG Anunoby. You want to talk about one of the best perimeter defenders in the league? 74 games is a career high for him. 18 points per game, career high on a team that has where he's probably the fourth option most nights. When you talk about obviously Brunson and Cat, and then Mikal, I think everyone would deem as a better scorer than OG on most nights. I mean, 18 points per game is pretty good. 5 rebounds, a steal and a half, and a block per game. 37% from 3 on 6 attempts is elite for what that team needs. Not everybody is shooting 10, 9 3-pointers a game like some of the stars, but 6 attempts from three per game is a lot, and he's shooting 37%. That is one of the best wing defenders and role players, if you will, in the league, even though he's making about 40 million bucks. But no awards this year, but I did find it interesting that he's only ever made a defensive team once, and it was second team in 2023. Other than that, never made a defensive team. But OG Anunoby, very good player. Again, it's just the contract around his name. Sometimes it's like, ish, man, like that is a lot of money for a role player. Now, obviously, a very valuable role player, as I have, the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. I've got them as my favorite in the East. So yeah. Number 9, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes played 65 games. He averaged 19 points per game, about just under 8 rebounds and just under 6 assists per game. About 1.5 steals, which is a career high, and a block per game. 27% from three, which is a career low, basically. No awards. Raptors weren't playing for much, didn't make the play in or playoffs. Um, I wonder how it'll go because he hasn't actually had a very good preseason either. Now, granted, it is preseason. Preseason doesn't mean much at all in most cases, and it doesn't in this case, but there's a lot to figure out over there in Toronto. And I don't know. I don't know. Scotty Barnes is a valuable player, or he could be a valuable player, but I don't know if his full value is being shown on a Toronto Raptors who's what hasn't been in the play-in, and who knows what they do this year, even though the East is not, the East is pretty hurt right now. Number 8, Julius Randle. Julius Randle was a very interesting one because originally I had Scotty Barnes over him. But then when you look at the numbers, you look at some, because I do take some team success into this, not all of it, especially for guys that are, you know, 2 or 3 options or 1 option on a really bad, like sometimes, it matters more than it doesn't. But I always have said being a 2 option on a very good team or best team in the league is more impressive to me than being the first option on a bad team. Now, granted, was Scotty Barnes the first option? I don't know, but him or RJ, whatever. Julius Randle, obviously the second option. And you were like, but the Timberwolves were the 6th seed. Yes, but they made it to the conference finals 2 years in a row. And the year before, they were not the 6th seed. I think they were the 3 seed. But he wasn't on that team anyway, so I don't know why I brought that up. But um, when I read out a lot of these numbers, it's going to be like lows. Like they're going to be career lows. But the impact that he had and the stuff that he was able to do in the playoffs and the efficiency, like those things, like those are some things that matter. So I ultimately ended up switching Randall and putting him higher on the list. At number 8, he played 69 games. He averaged just under 19 points per game, which is his lowest since 2018, I believe, which was with the Pelicans. Um, 7 rebounds per game is literally a career low, except for his rookie season when he played 1 game. It is quite literally a career low. Just under 5 assists per game. He shot about 34.5% from three, which is his highest since 2021. He shot 48.5% from the field, which is his highest since 2019. And he only played 32 minutes per game, which is his career low since 2019. So like you look at it like, yeah, the points per game, the rebounds are lower, but look, the minutes are lower. The efficiency is better for the first time in at least 4 seasons, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. And look at what he did in the playoffs and how impactful he was and how good the Timberwolves were, even though, sure, their record had them at the 6th seed, but they obviously were better than the 6th seed. But, yeah, and I mean, he used to be known as a playoff dropper. Like, now, does one season trump everything else he done in his career? It doesn't completely cover it up, but it's a damn good thing, like to what he did in the playoffs and to be that second option. And he can really do a lot of things. He can play make, he can rebound, he can score slash shoot. Like, it's a very good player. And I think when we all thought about that trade that happened, obviously him for Cat and him and DiVincenzo for Cat, it was like, does the fit work? Because obviously Cat, probably the best 3-point shooting big ever, or 3-point shooting center at least, to a guy who sometimes is a ball stopper, who sometimes wants to get his own thing and isn't obviously the shooter that Cat was. But I mean, it worked pretty good, bro. I mean, he's a better defender than what Cat is. Probably a better decision maker too. Obviously, body language isn't always perfect, but nonetheless, I thought what he did was very good, and I actually almost put him over number 7 too. But I got to this point where, like, this player just is a better basketball player, I think. Number 7 for me is Jared Jackson Jr. He played 74 games, averaged just above 22 points per game, which almost was a career high, a block and a half, and 1.2 steals per game, 37.5% from three, which is a career high. And obviously, the thing we know the most, 3.5 fouls per game, which I think actually is not his career high. He's actually had worse years, but he's gotta cut back on the fouls, bro. He's gotta, but when you talk about the value that a guy like that can have, I think if you put Jaren next to, like, if Zach Edey turned into, like, 11, 12 rebound per game type of guy and a guy that could play 28, 30 minutes a night, Jaren would be so much more valuable because obviously Jaren is not a good rebounder. I didn't have it written down, but I've got it pulled up right here. He averaged 5.5 rebounds. He's never averaged 7 rebounds a game. I don't know, but I mean, very good defender. Obviously, as the second part of the year came around, he kind of fell out of DPOY talks, and it kind of pretty much definitely went to Mobley. But I mean, he was an all star. He was all defensive second team and seventh in DPOY. But Jaren is a I like Jaren, but again, I think if you put him next to, like, he was pretty good. I think the year he might have won DPOY is when, was it Valanciunas was on the team? Let me see real quick. In 2023, um, no, Steven Adams was on the team, but didn't Steven Adams not play that year? No, he did. He played 42 games, but he averaged 11 rebounds. You know, like I think that's all another thing where value shows. Now he is going to have a bigger role with Desmond Bain not on the team, to where, like, I mean, he probably could get up to about 24, 25 points per game, depending on, how that team gets going, how good the team is. But again, got to cut back on the fouls. I don't know if it shows how many times Jaren fouled out, but I can see. All right, so I'm not 100% sure if these numbers are correct, but it says he fouled out 6 times during the 2025 regular season, and he had 5 fouls in each of the last 2 games against OKC in the playoffs. So not, I guess, as horrible, but he can't just be fouling out. He can't be having 5 fouls going into the fourth quarter, things like that. But number 6, a guy that I almost put at one spot higher because of what he did, like, and I think the not disrespect necessarily, but, like, the people just kinda overlook what he does. But Pascal Siakam, he plays 78 games for the Pacers this year, 20 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 39% from 3, which is a career high. He was an all-star, he was an Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and, I mean, playoffs role, I mean, there was a conversation, depending on what Halliburton did in that last game, if he stayed healthy, like, who would get Finals MVP, right? I think it still would've went to Halliburton, but, like, man, like, I mean, Pascal Siakam had that case, and he was by far in some games the best player on that team and the number one option. Now, sometimes he was number two. Sometimes you get a game from, like, an Aaron Neesmith, or where, like, someone, but, like, Pascal Siakam took a lot of that heat off, and I mean, he almost was a two-time champion. But um, the players above him, again, I'm not doing it just necessarily on last year. I mean, that is taking a big fact. Like, I'm only reading stats from last year, but it's also like, come on, man, like, who's better? All right, now we go to the top 5. This guy didn't play a lot of games because he was injured, but he played enough. Paolo Banchero was the guy who I almost switched out with Siakam, but only played 46 games, but he averaged just under 26 points per game, which is a career high, 7.5 rebounds per game, which is a career high, and just under 5 assists per game. Again, injured, no awards. But what I will say that I've seen online, and granted, online doesn't matter in a lot of cases, because, like, if you listen to NBA Twitter, if you get your things from Instagram, like, people that just talk in comment sections, you don't know anything about this one. Like, you got to be able to make your own opinions and stuff, which I get it. It is hard sometimes, especially if you watch other people, or if you are online a lot. Like sometimes it's hard if you find something you agree with or that is a good point, but you got to be able to have your own opinion. And people are really starting to do the Tatum and Brown thing with Paolo and Franz, and they have only been together. I think this will be Paolo's fourth year. They've only played 3 seasons together, but like I've seen multiple people say Paolo is just the the inconsistent shot chucker, while Franz is the real star and who, carries and is obviously sure more efficient sometimes matter, but when you are the guy, you're gonna take horrible shots sometimes. And you're gonna make them because you're a tough shot maker and a tough shot taker. But, like, it's what people were doing. People were saying Brown was the real guy, uh, for the longest time, and that Tatum, Tatum wasn't always the best player. Like, Paolo is the best player. Sure, there are games where Franz will lead the team in scoring. There are games where Franz will be the better player. But just because they have two-star player like, Paolo is the best player. It is just not true. Like, and I'm comparing it as, like, Paolo is Tatum in this case, and Franz is Jaylen Brown. Like, Franz and Jaylen Brown, very good players, all-star caliber players. But Paolo and Tatum are the guys, bro. And I'm not trying to revert it back to the Celtics, but it just things I'm like, I'm just seeing it. It sounds like the exact same conversation. I wonder when the overlapping skill sets, but like, if honestly, that's something that Franz got to work on more. Franz shooting last year was awful, was so bad. His jump shot has hitches in it, like it is so bad. Now, granted, Paolo could be a better jump shooter too, like in the 3 point, but like Paolo is the best damn player on that team, so stop it. Um, but yeah, little tangent there. But number 4, DPOY, Evan Mobley, 71 games. He averaged 18.5 points per game, career high, 9.3 rebounds per game, which ties a career high, about 3 assists per game, which ties a career high, 1.6 blocks per game. He shot 37% on three more 3-point attempts than last year, and only 2 fouls per game, which is a career high. And he only plays 30 minutes per game. All these Cavs players, they only played 30 minutes per game. Um, because they were so good they didn't need to. Like his numbers would have been better. I wonder what his per 36s were gonna be. Based on last year. If he played 36 minutes a game, like most stars are doing, 22 points per game, about 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. On it doesn't really matter, but like the 3-point shooting wasn't his career high, but again, he shot 3 more attempts and it almost was still a career high. So I took that for him. Um just gonna get better, man. There are times like Jared Allen is a very serviceable and good center, man. But I think depending on what they do this year, if they flake out in the second round, like I think we got to see Evan Mobley at the full time 5, man. I think he can do it, bro. Sure, he might sometimes seem like he's got a thin frame and he can get pushed around and all this and all that, but Evan Mobley can do it, man. He can do it. But accolades this year, he was an all-star. He was all NBA second team, defensive first team, DPOY, of course, and 10th in MVP. Now we get to the real superstars and everything like that. Another guy who went through a rough season being traded and being injured, but Anthony Davis, he played 51 games, just under 25 points per game, 11 and a half rebounds per game, just over 2 blocks and just over a steal per game. He was an all-star, but that's about it. It's insane to me that Anthony Davis is going to end his career and not have a defensive player of the year. It's crazy. It's gonna be crazy to me. Because right, doesn't Tim Duncan not also have one? He was, yeah, 15-time all defensive, but never won DPOY. Never won DPOY. And he was defensive first team a bunch of times. So that's what's funny to me. Obviously, Anthony Davis has been defensive first team 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and obviously a bunch of second teams. But like, which makes it what 5-time all defensive. So I guess not a bunch of second teams, only one second team actually. But Like, it's crazy to me. I mean, he's had years where he's averaged 3 blocks per game. He averages 2.3 blocks over his career, and this will be his 12th season? 13th season. This will be his 13th or 14th season. I think he's gonna have a good year. He's gonna get to pretty much be the number one, especially while Kyrie's not there. Um, but yeah, Anthony Davis is my number 3. Might be the highest that he gets, depending on how this year goes for him, but nonetheless, still one of the best big men in the league. Number 2, tore his Achilles against the New York Knicks. 72 games played. The Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum. 20, just under 27 points per game, just under 9 rebounds per game, which ties a career high, and 6 assists per game, which is a career high. He doesn't really miss games, which I think is another part of how valuable he is. Now, it's a little cliche to say, well, he's about to miss maybe the whole season. But like other than that, like I mean, last year 72 games, the year before 74, 74, 76, 64, 66, but those were like some of the shortened NBA seasons, I believe. And then 79 and then 80. Like Jason Tatum, people don't like him, but you cannot man, I mean, he's been a top 5 player in this league for some years now. Now, will he be when he comes back? Probably not, but he's still solidified pretty much top 10. He was an all-star. He was all NBA first team for the 4th year in a row, 4th in MVP, and 10th in clutch player of the year. Um, so yeah, he number 2. And obviously, number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, Giannis is going to go down as one of the best players of all time. He already is. He's going to be when his career is done, no shot he's any worse than the second best power forward of all time. Some people might already deem him there, but I mean, he averaged 30.4 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 6.5 assists per game, which is a career high, 60% from the field goal, 10.6 free throws attempted, which led the league, and then 67 games. All-star, All-NBA first team, 8th in DPOY, 3rd in MVP. And I mean, he hasn't made All-NBA second team or lower since 2018. Since 2018. Now there's another player that has similar numbers like that in the centers list, which we'll get to. You'll probably see tomorrow or over the weekend. But like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 all NBA first teams in a row. 7? Like, man, the whole decade. Like, Giannis, I know most people deem Jokic as the best player in the league, and he probably is. Giannis is right there, though. Giannis is right there, though, and I'm excited for his season coming up. But yeah, that is going to wrap up this episode of the NBA show. Again, we didn't talk too much about other things. We talked about the Kings, talked about Malcolm Brogdon, but other than that, didn't talk too much. That's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about my list. Make sure to comment any questions, suggestions, comments, anything like that. Like, subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching. Make sure you come back. And we got the NBA season in. Is that 4 days? 5 days, bro. 5 days NBA basketball regular season is back.